Hello, everybody. This is Alia Jamal, the love coach, and we are meeting for another love circle. And today we are talking about our soul, getting to know your soul. Now, this is the part of the uh, puzzle in terms of self-development. Once I started learning it more and more, um, I personally experienced that I was able to um, kind of like overcome or speed up so much of the inner work that I was doing. It almost felt like I had access to unlimited energy. Now, if you have studied Untethered Soul, or if you have studied the book Seed of the Soul, they, those authors, they do talk about this unlimited potential we have, this unlimited power we all have within us. What is that power? Like in the beginning of my journey, I was just like, please give me the key. I just want to be connected to that power. And that is what we'll be talking about today. What is that power and how you can connect with it every single day so you get to have a very different human experience? Because everything changed for me, and that is what I wish for all of you to also benefit from and don't have to keep struggling for the rest of our life every single day. Yes, challenges will always come because challenges are the only way. Challenges, failure, things that we label failure, the things we label hardship, they would always come because that is how we develop. That is how we come closer to realizing who I really am. And in truth, we all are a soul before we became a body or a person or a personality that we live. So just to start from the top, soul is what God creates. Now, if you don't believe in a structured religion, you can think of, in the universe, so that the energy gets created first. But if you are interested in learning the more structural spiritual understanding of it, I learned it in one of the discipline that I follow, pranic healing, that God creates divine spark, and divine spark comes to a lower level of energy, creates higher soul. Higher soul comes to a lower level of energy, creates incarnated soul. And that energy comes even on a lower level, become super dense, and we become a body. So while we are in this body, what we are trying to do is become aware that we are an incarnated soul. We are an energy that has come into a physical form. Once you have that realization, the next level would be, most religious, like structured religion institute, if you're going there, if you're studying, you do talk about you're a soul and then you're gonna die and then you'll be going to a different world and all that stuff. So that awareness, once you have that, then we need to become aware and realize and become one with our higher soul. So that is when we develop, while we are in this human experience, to a level where we become one with our higher self, where we start looking at everything from that higher perspective, where when somebody hurts us, we don't get bogged down by it because we can look at the other person from that higher soul, and that higher soul is pure love. It's love and light. That is a real truth. And that is what we call true self when we are talking about it. Generally people, when they are talking about the word true self or truth these days, it gets watered down, where it would be like, oh, I need to speak my truth and this is how I feel about it. That's ego. We'll have a whole session about ego too, and we'll get to learn how to use that for your benefit. But true self, real true self, is your higher self. And it sees everything, everybody, how God sees. because that is where the energy is coming from. God created that. So it does have those qualities. And we all have those qualities within us too. So let's just say once we become one with our higher self or a higher soul, that is another level of development that, very few human have achieved while they have been in their human experience. Now, so sometimes we call them saints. We do know that there's prophets who are, higher level masters. And then we are maybe familiar with some saints. You might know somebody in your current life, but they could be your spiritual teacher who are just like, way up high there. Maybe they are able to see more, hear more. So those are people who have become one with their higher self. Once a master, by that time they are definitely master, get to that higher level, they can actually see in the incarnated soul of the other person, and they can tell what your purpose really is. So it's pretty cool as a human to develop to that higher level. Now, there's even another level of development of our soul while we are in this human experience, and that is becoming one with your divine spark. And that very, very, very few ordinary human like me and you have done it, but it's humanly possible. That is when we are just maybe on another level. I don't even know how to explain it, but I did learn that exists, and that is what my goal is. So the reason I'm explaining all this, so you can understand while you're going through your very different kind of hard, easy life challenges, or whatever you're facing in terms of your health, wealth, relationships, you are a being first, having that human experience. And if you start connecting more with that being, your human experience becomes so much easier. So what we want to do, we want to consciously create and nurture that relationship. So no matter what kind of background you come from in terms of spirituality, whether you consider yourself spiritual or not spiritual, but you still have a power within you, it's keeping you alive. And the day that power leaves, you will not be alive anymore. No matter how hard you try to stay alive, you will not be alive. And any person who has any knowledge of human body can tell you that. So this is where we become aware of our own divinity. So there is a part of us that is going to live on. And wouldn't it be nice that we can learn about it and connect with it right now while we are in this human experience? And when we start doing that, our life becomes so much easier. Nothing will change. You'll still have same challenging kids, same challenging spouse, same challenging job. But how you perceive those challenges would completely change. How you react to them would completely change. So now let's talk about how you're going to do it, how you're going to get to know your soul, how you're going to nurture a relationship between you and you. So in my writing or in my content, when I'm talking about you and you, that's what I'm talking about. The journey that I take my clients through is a journey through the personality. So personality is this physical experience. Our soul does not have any gender. When that energy kind of comes into a body, and that energy has already decided, okay, this time, so I believe in multiple lifetime. It's up to you. If you don't believe in it, you don't have to take my point of view. When the soul comes into the body, it has already decided I'm going to be a man or a woman this time around. And then it has also decided what kind of household I'm going to end up in. So for example, I chose to come in a very specific household. You chose to come in a very specific household. Now, the household I was in programmed my unconscious mind. And that led me to become the person I am today. Now, if I want to get back to who I am in my truest self as my soul, I need to work through that programming, unlearn it, and really learn how God created me or what He created me to be. What is my true self? And that, I mean, I personally did it by studying universal laws, how the universe runs. So most likely I'm part of nature. That's how I run too. And letting go of whatever I picked up from this human experience. So in that process, I am overcoming the personality. Maybe I started as a person who was very scared, fearful all the time. And now, overcoming that, I have become a person who does not get stopped by fear. I can walk through fear. So that is how the development, the inner work that we do, it brings us closer to our truest self. And when we work through that personality and we do start feeling, oh my God, what is the truth of me? What is this unlimited power that I am? That is when we start falling in love with that part of you. And that journey is unconditional self-love. That is when you're not going to care about the weight you are, the way you look, the skin color that you have, the hair length you have, or the relationships you have or don't have, or what kind of career you have. That is when you disconnect with all of that and you accept yourself just the way you are and fall in love with yourself. That is what happens when you get to know your soul. But this is something, if you have never done it, it is going to require discipline where you do invest time in yourself every single day. So there are a few things that I'm going to suggest. I mean, today's session is very free-flowing. I actually didn't prepare for anything. I just wanted it to flow through me. Whatever my higher soul want all of you to know, or whatever your higher soul wants to know, I just wanted to be a channel for that for you today. So the very first step would be realizing that you're not just a human being. You are more than this body. If you don't even accept that, nothing else is going to change. You're not going to get access to that higher power that I'm talking about, that is within you, in each and every one of you right now. It's been there every single day of your life. Like now when I can tap into that, I can live from that place. I just go back to, oh my God, I lived all this life without being aware of who I really am. So first you have to realize you are more than this body. And when you feel like, okay, that realization has really become solid, or it may become natural to you, and you can say, yeah, I have already had that realization that I am more this body. What do I do next? And the second step would be, you will start spending time with yourself alone, no distractions. And here's why it's so important. At any given time, we have three voices running in our head. One of the three, or maybe all three at the same time. One is voice of fear. Fear is always telling you, don't do this, don't do that, there's like, don't. Unless it's a biological fear where something is chasing you, we all know how to handle biological fear. But if it's a psychological fear, it's always trying to stop you with the worst case scenario to not go for what your desire is telling you to go. So that is one voice. And the second voice is voice of other people. So it's collectively the echoes of the collective consciousness that we have right now. And it would be also the voice of your parents, your grandparents, whoever you were around, every single movie you watched, every single TV serial you ever watched, your friends' conversations. So all the limitation they have talked about, or the fears they have talked about, or the opinions that they have talked about, they all are sitting in your unconscious mind, and they keep echoing as voice of others. So that is the voice that leads you to feel guilty. That is the voice that leads you to judging yourself. That is the voice that leads you to criticize yourself. And that is also the voice that tells you you're not good enough. So that is the voice that's always hindering you, again, from being who you really desire to be. We all have a dream within us. We all see life in a different way because we are human. We are here to grow. When you will reach one level, you'll always be dreaming about the next level. That is just who we are. We are continuously developing. That's why that soul came in this body, so it can develop through this experience. And when we leave this body, we take that development with us. You're not going to take your money from this plane, from this dimension, but you are going to take who you become. So always invest time in that. Always invest time and unlimited money if you have to in becoming that person, because you get to take that from this plane. So that is the second voice. And the third voice is your voice of your higher soul. It's always guiding you, directing you, and it's a very kind voice. It will say, go here, do this. And the more I became attuned to listening to that voice, and that is our job, that would be the second step for you. Go be alone so you can listen to this inner guidance that's always talking to you. So many things that I do, even in terms of my business, in terms of my outreach, in terms of who do I reach out to, I am always listening to it. Even in terms of connecting with my clients, I might be just, doing something and, a voice would pop up, reach out to that client, ask them how they are doing. I'll reach out and they'll be like, oh my God, how did you know? I was just like, going through this thing and I was so wrapped up that I didn't even think of connecting with you. And here I am. Okay, let's work through this together. That is how sharp that inner voices of your higher self, it's always guiding you and directing you, but you're never gonna hear it if you're stuck in the noise. So second step is go out, be alone. Be alone in nature, preferably all by yourself, no cell phone, no human, nobody. Now, if you have very hard time being alone, start it small. Maybe sit in your room alone. At the end of the day, whether you have kids or you don't have kids, create that culture in your home. They're like, I need 10, 15 minutes to be alone in a room by myself before I go to bed. You can also meditate. Meditation right now, we know it to be like, the source of good health and calm mind and clarity. But the real purpose of meditation is to connect with your soul, to really become aware who you are in your truest self. So you can disconnect from the personality, you can disconnect from your environment, you have your eyes closed, you're focusing on your breath, so you become aware of the power that breathes through you. That is the real, reason why meditation exists as a practice in human life. Right now, we have made it into, whatever. And a lot of people don't even know how to meditate because they really don't know how to meditate. They just close their eyes and they're trying to quiet their mind. And good luck trying to quiet your mind, or even if you're just looking at your thoughts. But we are supposed to become aware of this power that is within you. That is what focal point needs to be. And again, at some point, I will teach a class just on meditation. I am a student of meditation myself, been doing it consistently for 4+ years at this point, and it has completely shifted my life for sure. So meditate if you can be in nature all by yourself. that is when you just go inward. So that would be the third step. If you do get to be alone outside in nature, that is when you go inward and just ask yourself this question: who am I? And keep asking that question till you start hearing something, till you start knowing something, till you maybe start seeing something. We do have 5 physical senses, but we also have 3 spiritual senses, or senses of our soul. And that is, we can hear things that we don't see. We can see the thing human eye doesn't see, or we just know, we feel it in our body, or we just have a knowing that somebody's here right now. I know. And a lot of people who had a loved one pass on, this sense in them becomes so heightened. They would say, I know, my husband was here. I know when I was doing that, my husband was right here telling me this, because they have such a strong bond of love that they become aware of the presence of another soul. So then they don't have to think about, am I going crazy? Because that love is so strong. So that is when, they are not even rejecting what they are feeling, because it's annoying. If you don't have that, you can build it. And nobody has to, pass on in our life for us to activate these senses within us. Go out, be in nature, and just ask yourself, who am I? What is my truth? The more you ask these questions, the more you're sending out the signal, hey guys, I'm ready. Whoever is here to help me navigate or understand my own truth, I am here to learn that truth. But you have to ask for it. If you're busy 24/7, working, taking care of other people, paying the bills, cleaning the house, getting errands done, and there's no time to make that connection, you're going to stay lost, and you're not going to ever feel the connection with this power that is within you. So the third and the last step would be, or fourth, you can work your way up through these steps, or you can just, go all in. I just wanted to go all in. That is when you close your eyes and you bring your awareness in your hand, in the middle of your hand, and you look down in your body as if your body is a hollow tube, and you look down in it and look for the energy that's moving up and down, up, up, and down. There's a moving energy. Now, with your awareness and focus, follow that energy. Follow it starting from the head, going all the way to your feet, and from your feet, all the way going to the head. This is that energy that runs within you all day long, up and down, up and down. The more you become aware of it, the more you connect with it, the more you are actively connecting with it, you are going to be tapping into that unlimited power that you are. We all are. And you're going to start separating from your personality. You're going to notice a difference in your emotion. You're going to also notice a difference in changing of your life situation and condition. Because now you're vibrating on a very different frequency. Because you're not tapped into what's around you, you're tapped into what's inside of you. And that focal shift can create massive changes in your life. Because that is when you are kind of like, like going more into a bird eye view instead of being in the situation. And whenever we go into the bird eye view, we see something very different. Our experience is very different. So that is what the benefit of getting to know your soul brings in your life. And I'm just going to repeat, if you want to get to know your soul and you want to connect with it, go in isolation. And I'm not talking about 3 days, don't see anybody, but spend some alone time, maybe even 15 minutes in nature all by yourself. And the reason we pick nature, because the vibration in nature are very different. The energy is very different because there's no human thinking all these thoughts. When you're sitting in your living room, let's say, and there's 4 people living in your home, let's say all 4 have sat in the same spot at different times, whatever they were thinking is left over in the house. If they are worried, if they're stressed out, that energy is in the house. But when you go into the nature, that energy is very pure. So it's so much easier. It's more refined. So it's so much easier for you to get to that level of your being that is refined energy. That's why we prefer going into the nature. And we all know the benefits of being in nature, psychologically and on physiological level, that there's pheromones of trees that we absorb, our body chemistry changes. But right now we are just talking about how the energy shift happens within you. And once you do that, focus on that kind voice that is within you. What is it telling you? And then you can just ask, who am I? Guide me, talk to me. We don't always need somebody else to come from the outside and guide us. Yes, we do need to be shown the path, but there's so much you can do on your own when you start connecting with that inner guidance. And then the last part would be where you're actively every day practicing connecting with that energy, seeing that energy. What I have personally done, I learned a meditation. It's called meditating on your higher soul. I do practice that meditation regularly every week. Of course, I cannot share that meditation with you guys. It's very advanced and you have to have the level to go through it. It's part of Planet Healer's path. But that is when I started to connect with this energy consciously. And you don't have to do it the way it's taught in that, principle or modality. You can just close your eyes and see that light within you. It's moving, follow it, connect with it, merge with it, become one with it. Yeah, that is going to require a lot of mind control and focus. And you can build that. Once you do build that, that's why meditation is recommended. That's why meditation is so helpful. It does teach us a higher level of mind control. Once you become one with that energy, you're going to come out of your meditation looking at your life in a very, very different way. And that is the benefit of getting to know your soul. Your perspective on life changes and your life experience changes. I really hope today's conversation was enlightening and energizing for you, and you are going to utilize whatever I suggested to build that connection between you and you, because that is the only permanent connection relationship you're going to have. That is the only love that once you become aware of, you also become aware that you'll have it forever. Then why not invest some time in nurturing that love, becoming aware of that love every single day? I'm sending you all so much love, and I will see you next Thursday. Love you. Bye.